Hi, it's Sandy Wiley. We're going to dive right into the personality disorders. So I'm going to do a series on personality disorders. I've already started. I've talked in the past about borderline personality disorder, narcissistic personality disorder, and recently I just did antisocial personality disorder, known as a sociopath. And I really feared that I had that I had personality disorder of a sociopath. But the more that I looked into it, the more I came up with the conclusion that I do not. But what I have is avoidant personality disorder. We're going to go into that. I also have social anxiety. We're going to go into that. Avoidant personality disorder versus social anxiety. I have that. What's the difference? See, I have so many characteristics or so many symptoms of so many disorders. I've been diagnosed with anxiety. So I've been diagnosed with borderline personality disorder. I've been diagnosed with a severe case of anxiety disorder. I also have been diagnosed with attention deficit disorder recently, over the last few years. I have not been diagnosed with any other mental disorders, but I think I have a lot of them. And I do not think that I am a sociopath. I do not think that I have antisocial disorder. I was mistaking antisocial disorder because I'm antisocial, but it's not the same. What I have is avoidant personality disorder. It's not the same as antisocial personality disorder, which is a sociopath. All right, let's look at, social anxiety. I've always had it because growing up, I always avoided social situations. I never went to my prom. I think I said that in the last video. I never dated. I never went to parties. I never went to dances with all my other peers, the friends I knew and the friends of friends and everyone in high school went to dances. They went to clubs. I never went to clubs and I never went to dances. I even avoided my in-laws, and everyone thought, there was something wrong with me, like I was a snob. But people with mental illness are often mistaken for people who don't give a shit, people who are snobs, people who are stuck up, people who think they're superior, people who are arrogant. But you know what? It's not true. You really shouldn't judge a book by its cover, okay? I just want to make that known because a lot of people thought like I acted like I was better than everyone else or I was a snob. But the fact is, I would get so worked up with anxiety, I'd pass out. I'm not kidding you. I would have such severe anxiety. Like before, I remember this one time I almost blacked out. And I was working with preschool children at the time because I had to go to an in-law dinner. An in-law dinner after working all day with little kids. My husband came from a big family. He's the youngest of 4 brothers. They all had significant others. So that's 10 people. That's only if the immediate family is there. If other people are there, which are often the case, it can be over a dozen people. And that's overwhelming, to me. I grew up an only child. My father left the house when I was young. I was in isolation most of my life. So, and I was extremely shy. So let's just dive into it. Have you ever been craving connection, but you can't bring yourself to go to a party? Yeah. Where you barely know anyone? Yeah. Some people are social butterflies. What do they call it? A wallflower, where you just hang back on the wall. Social situations can be uncomfortable for everyone, but for some, it can be such a difficult situation that most invitations are met with a firm no. See, this is me. I wish people would understand this. My husband still doesn't understand it. He thought I was just being a snob to his family, but this is me. This is true. I have severe anxiety. Severe, I mean, crippling anxiety. Especially in social situations. With strangers, I think, like, even with people I know, I think the only person I don't have any anxiety with, zero, is my husband. Okay. Social anxiety disorder and avoidant personality disorder are both characterized by an overwhelming fear of being judged or embarrassed in social situations. That's me. So what's the difference between these two? I think I have both. Since the two disorders look alike and can co-occur, it's common for one to be mistaken for the other. Both conditions have distinct features and different roots. Knowing the difference can help you in being better able and more comfortable in working with a professional to get the right diagnosis and treatment. All right, let's see. What is social anxiety, first of all? Social anxiety, social phobia, is a type of anxiety disorder characterized by a significant fear of being embarrassed or judged by others. This is me. I was thinking, oh my God, I'm antisocial. So I was thinking, that's why you should never diagnose yourself. Do not diagnose yourself. So I go on and saying I have antisocial personality disorder, which is really a sociopath, which is really, a person has no regard for people, animals, or anything. They just don't, they like to harm living things. This is not me. But, I got mixed up. That wasn't me. This is me. Okay. If I'm confusing you, it just means I'm confused. But that's why we're going to get into it. The social anxiety disorder is one of the most common anxiety disorders, affecting 12% of adults in the United States. All right. The National Alliance on Mental Health reports that it's also the most common psychiatric condition after major depression and alcohol dependence, which I'm probably... I've been more alcohol dependent in the last few years, since I've been into therapy with two particular shrinks. But we won't get into that. We've already talked that to death. A person with social anxiety often worries about social interactions. Bingo. Meeting or having a conversation with someone they don't know well. Bingo. I wouldn't do good in those Tinder things. Those dating matches or meeting strange people. No, I wouldn't do good there. All right, so here are the mental and physical symptoms of social anxiety disorder. Fear of humiliation, embarrassment, or judgment. Fear of interacting with strangers, which that's me tenfold. Difficulty with eye contact, yes. Blushing, trembling, and sweating. Yay! That's me. I'm a big sweater. I'm a big sweater. No, I mean I sweat. You get those stains under your armpits, those big stains that grow wider and wider, and then you have to kind of like go like this. So no one sees it. Sweater won't show them, no one sees those sweat stains. Oh, they're so embarrassing. You ever get them when you're nervous? Trembling, sweating, your heart is racing, your face blushes, and oh, it's just horrible, horrible, horrible. You feel like you're dying. That's a panic attack coming on. You may feel like your mind is going blank in social situations. Now, that is one of the number one characteristics with me. Why? Because I've had people in social situations ask me like what my phone number was, and I went totally blank. They'd ask me like questions like a 2-year-old can answer. I don't know, like, what school does your son go to? Like, what college is your son going to? My mind would go blank. I wouldn't be able to remember. It would be like my mind would be wiped out. I would be so full of anxiety and riddled with crippling. This is what I'm saying. Crippling anxiety that I couldn't answer a common question that I knew the answer. I'm not kidding you. When I'm telling you this is how I know for 20% I have this condition. Because people have asked me questions in just normal conversation, right? And because I have social anxiety, I couldn't answer. I couldn't think of my phone number. I couldn't think of what college my son went to. One time they asked me a question. Now, I forget the question. And I gave them the wrong answer. Because I was so overriddled. Like, it's so true. My mind went totally blank. It was totally blank. Active avoidance of social situations or of getting attention. Ruminating over mistakes made in conversations. All right, now, what is avoidant personality disorder? Avoidant personality disorder is considered to be a persistent set of characteristics that involve an intense fear of being judged or embarrassed. Well, that's just like, the social anxiety, isn't it? Symptoms are driven by feelings of personal inadequacy and the belief that others feel the same way about you. That others feel the same way about, feelings of personal inadequacy and the belief that others feel the same way about them. These symptoms cause significant distress and disability in daily life. All right, let's see what they are. Feelings of inferiority, shame, incompetence. This is the same kind of thing, though. Few to no close friends. Well, I always had, there was periods of time I had no friends. And then the other periods of time I had a few friends. Now I have no friends again. The no friends. Avoidance of activities or jobs involving contact with others. That's kind of hard unless you work from home. Voila! I work from home! I do. I'm a writer. I write books. I have dozens and dozens of books. I'm a YouTuber, reluctant to get involved with others. Highly sensitive to criticism or disapproval. That's me. Fear of doing something wrong. Extremely reserved in intimate relationships. Magnification of potential problems. Reluctant or unwilling to try new things due to fear of embarrassment. All right, what's the difference between avoidant personality disorder and social anxiety disorder? Because the more I read about it, the more I feel like I have both of these disorders, really, to be honest with you. Both conditions revolve around an intense fear of being judged. Okay, that's how they're alike, okay? Rejected or embarrassed. From the outside, these disorders can manifest in similar symptoms, such as low self-esteem or avoidance of social situations, which is what I did practically my whole life. I avoid social situations. I was that girl that missed her prom, missed parties. Let's see, just about everything. All right, but the symptoms of these disorders may be driven by different factors. According to the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Disorders, DSM-5 for you shrinks out there, you know about that. Social anxiety disorder is an anxiety disorder, meaning it involves high levels of anxiety. Those with social anxiety disorder recognize that their fears may be disappropriate. In contrast, those with avoidant personality disorder may lack this insight. Instead, their fears are driven by overwhelming feelings of worthlessness. They believe these core beliefs are true, so they think others also believe they're inadequate. So I would think that I have the social anxiety after reading that, because I don't necessarily believe others think I'm inadequate, and that would be more characteristic for the avoidant. I have the extreme anxiety, so that I would classify me as a social anxiety disorder. After reading that, that's the difference. All right, still, there are many similarities between the two disorders, and experts have differing opinions on how they should be diagnosed. I remember when I went to Mass Bay Community College, that's where I met my husband. When I first went there, because I came from an all-girl Catholic school, all girls, no boys. And since I never went to parties or dances or clubs or my prom like all the other girls, I never was around boys. Remember, I'm an only child too. So I never really was around, except my cousin. That's another story. So I used to hide out in the auditorium, and no one was in the. It was empty. It was dark. There was a piano in the auditorium, on the stage. So there was this one guy, college kid, who used to go in there and practice his piano. That's the only person I'd see in there, because I'd be in there. Also, my best friend Julia would come and join me sometimes, but she also had a job to support herself through college at the audiovisual center. So she was working that job a lot. So she wasn't with me. I was alone in that auditorium. I didn't go to the library. I didn't go to the cafeteria. I didn't go to the AV center. I just stayed in a dark auditorium and did my homework or studied in between classes. Of course, I would go to classes. So this other student that played the piano, when he saw me in there because he practiced piano, and he said, "Hey, you got to get out of here. You can't sit in this dark auditorium. This ain't good for you. The only friends you're gonna make with you, the only people you're gonna make friends with are these." And there was these paintings of, I don't know, past presidents of the college or something on the walls. And he said, "You're gonna come with me, and you're gonna have lunch with me and my friends." I didn't know what to say. He said, "Come on." He was like, I don't know his name. I can't remember what he looks like, but I think this guy saved my life. So he took me in the cafeteria, and we sat at a table with like a whole bunch of people, all his friends, and I had lunch. I don't even remember much of it. And he told me, "Get out of that auditorium. This is not good for you. You got to get out. Go to the library. Go, here or there." So I took his advice, and I got out of the auditorium, and I went to the audio, because my best friend Julia worked there. So I figured, all right, I'll hang out here for a little while. I just took his advice. I never saw him again. I don't remember his name. I don't remember what he looked like or anything. But I took his advice, and I seldom take people's advice. And then, Julia introduced me to one of her friends, Ruth, and they introduced me to some other people, and who introduced me to my husband. And I started branching out more. I didn't stay in the auditorium anymore. And this is where I met my husband. I've been married 36 years. See? So I just thought I'd tell you that story. So I would say definitely, can you have both avoidant personality disorder and social anxiety disorder? Why not? Social anxiety disorder, avoidant personality disorder commonly occur together. Wow. So they're saying it's common for them to occur together. Wow. Rates of co-occurrence have ranged from 21 to 89%. So it's very common to have both of these occur together. It was originally believed that avoidant personality disorder only occurred with social anxiety disorder. Now a considerable amount of research has said that has shown in about 2/3 of the cases. So how do you treat social anxiety? Okay, therapy. CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy, a type of psychotherapy that teaches you how to identify and challenge negative and false beliefs. They list all these therapies, and I'm not going to get into it, because guess what? I'm not a big believer in therapy. Therapy ruined my life. Go look at my other videos. Therapists took sexual advantage of me and exploited me. Go look at my other videos. Read my books. You'll know why. I'm going to tell you how you can get over this. Just take the advice of the guy in college who told me, I mean, I was extremely shy. I was extremely, he just He's just said, get out of that auditorium, and slowly, you just do it slowly. Just go where people are. You don't have to, go to nightclubs. You don't have to swing the all the other way like that. You can just go where people are, which is what I did. I went to the audiovisual center, the library, where other people are without interacting with other people. Just get yourself used to being around other people. This is what I did. And of course, my friend worked in the AV center, which helped because I already had someone like I knew. So she could introduce me to her friends and so on, and their friends and their friends. And this is becoming a shampoo commercial now. So, yeah, just if you have this social anxiety disorder, just try to get out once in a while in social places. Like go to a mall, shop around a mall, go to a library. I go to a library practically every day. It's like a few minutes drive from my house. I'm still having social anxieties, but I'm around other people. One of the nice ladies there sees me all the time. She asked me what my name was. She goes, I see you all the time here. What's your name? And I told her. Now when I walk in the library, she goes, hi, Sandra. And I go, hi. What's her name now? Charlotte. Because I always think of Charlotte's Web. That's her. Hi, Charlotte. See? Just that. Just like from going to the library, day after day, week after week, month after month. And she saw me there. She introduced herself and she said, what's your name? And now she calls me by my name and says hello. It's just little simple things like that. Just go where people are. You don't have to interact with them. But just being around people, that's like slowly how you come out of your shell. Just being around people, all right? Just take it baby steps like that. Being around people, maybe saying hi, what's your name? So you can wave hi and become familiar with the person. Little steps like that. Just like that guy grabbed me and said, come on, you're not going to stay in this auditorium anymore, in the dark. You're going to come out. Just little things like that. That's what helped me. And if it can help me, and believe me, I have major anxiety, it can help you too. So just go somewhere where there's people. Go to the mall. Go to the library. Go to I don't know, a workout club. If so you can be like around other people, but you don't necessarily have to interact with other people right away. If you're scared of interacting, you can just be around them, and go there consistently. That's how you get to know people. You get to know people by going the same place consistently. That, visiting the same place consistently. That's how, you become familiar with